It is straight up noon, and we do have a quorum. Well, Patty, I'm sure will join. However, I am Roger Ray's chair of Waterways, and I am told, I must say, we are being recorded, and all action, decorum, and civility should remind ourselves of that. Oh, there's Patty, right on time.
Now we have no problem with action and decorum.
I know that, but I'm just told we are being recorded, so we can proceed. And it looks like there's Patty. Excellent.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Nice to
Patty.
see.
Hi,
Nice
Patty.
to
Perfect, perfect,
Hi,
perfect,
Patty.
perfect. So the gang's all here. I would like to begin with a roll call, starting with Andy,
Present.
Kevin.
Here.
Okay. Patty,
Yep, I'm here.
Dana,
Yeah.
Andrea,
Here,
and far from least, TJ.
Here.
Excellent. Has everyone had a chance to look at the agenda and any questions or concerns? Hearing none. Has everyone had a chance to look at the wonderful meeting minutes that Dana has typed up?
Yes.
Great.
I would entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
So moved.
And a
Second.
second. Excellent. Thank you very much. Since all is here, all in favor, just say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it's unanimous vote. Thank you very much, and no abstentions. Great. Roll call, agenda, meeting minutes. Steve, I do believe it's drum roll and take it away.
Well, main purpose of us meeting so soon after our last gathering is the 604B grant application. I know there was communication between the chair and town hall asking for an update, a report, anything. And I think we've got nothing. Roger?
Oh, no,
Okay.
we got something.
Oh, yeah.
Chris,
Yeah.
we have just the opposite of what we were hoping for. They decided to not apply for this
Yeah.
grant.
Okay, I think I missed that communication and
I know, sorry about that. And it's sort of, and that was late last night, so I'm really kind of, well, anyway, they are not going to do it at this time. And I'd like to entertain some discussion on that because I thought, money is money, but that's just me. What do you think, Andrea?
The meeting was with DPW staff, board represents and consulting engineer. And as a group, they decided it was most important that they do an integrated water resource management plan, which indeed the town of Dartmouth needs. It'll be, a comprehensive plan of the wastewater, of the wastewater quantities and obstacles in the current plant and how to merge those two. It'll address problems with the drinking water supply that we've all read in our annual reports, and it addresses stormwater management. The stormwater management and comprehensive wastewater are two of the biggest water quality contributors in any watershed. So I think they just said, let's go for the whole enchilada. And they aren't going to do it, probably are not going to do it in this grant round because their engineer advised that you do better when you've had pre-conferences with DEP prior to the grant being announced for public. Every grant has this cone of silence, but there's a period before that where you can find out what they're looking for.
Right.
So I personally am disappointed because I don't think it meets the more simple objective that myself and some other members were looking for, which was just kind of an overall understanding of what our different sources of water quality problems are, where we have gaps in our information and, you know, how we should prioritize those issues. All that information will come, but the plan they're looking for is a very expensive plan, and there's going to be sticker shock. So I personally recommend that they go after more of a facilitated workshop, a grant to look at getting public involvement and interboard discussions about what water quality issues exist and what information we have and what we don't have and how to go about it. And it's a precursor to what they're talking about. And it might get people more sympathetic to a big ticket item, because $7,000 to $900,000 plan is going to lead to millions of dollars in construction. So
And how does,
if we're going to
again,
get low hanging fruit, we're not getting it out of that plan.
right, Andrea, and how does that affect us here in Waterways? I guess that's the overarching question.
Well, you know, we should be, if we can, we should be good doobies and acknowledge that anything the town does to improve water quality improves our commercial recreational shellfishing, and our you know, safe harbor for boating.
Okay, thank you for that.
But no,
Thank you very much.
it doesn't give us a direct role, which means there's room to do more.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Yes, Patty.
I agree with Andrea, and it also, to me, it makes sense to proceed with planning for the plan with a 604B grant because I really do think that we don't really know all of the factors involved in water quality. It's a big topic, and it seems to me that if the town is looking to get the state off their backs, I think they could do that with a 604B, and it would be, we're planning for the future and seeing what our issues are. And it's a multifaceted issue. And I think that it should have some public involvement, as Andrea said. And I guess I just don't really agree with the town's position, but I think it's better to have a plan, much like the MVP grant, with town and, you know, preparing for resiliency with town infrastructure. It's kind of like, let's see what we really have here, and then we'll go forward. Do we need this? Do we need that? And to me, it's a big enough topic that I think it merits taking a look at taking an overall view first. And that's my view.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you. I too am disappointed, but it's town hall that's driving it. So I think we move on. So Steve, moving on.
Okay, the next on the agenda is communication between the chair and town hall, which I think was more than just a 604B grant.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped one. That would be recent discussions between Waterways and the DPW board. Can you update us on that, Roger?
Sure thing. I invited Rob Almy to the meeting. I don't see him in this little Zoom meeting, but he wants to get together again and have a coffee and talk about water quality. And I'm always happy to be cooperative and collaborative. I think I will talk to Rob, and to your point, Andrea, and to your point, Patty, say, well, what can we do? I think going after a small grant to plan for the big plan grant is a smart tactic. And let me keep that dialogue going, and I will do that. I also said I'd reach out to Gary at Town Hall regarding the Waterways website payment page, and I have not heard back after several attempts at contacting him. Steve, do you know, is he out of that position? Is somebody else already moved into there? It seems like town hall is moving chess pieces around.
Yes, I don't have the updated scorecard, but unofficially, I've been told that Gary is out of that office and that Shannon Lyonnaise started this past Monday. I suppose at some point in the next year, I will receive an official welcome or notification from Town Hall about that change. But there are also some people that we work directly with in Gary's office that have moved around, and I'm not sure what those changes are yet. But so Gary is no longer the person. Shannon will be the person that deals with the collection. She will be reporting to Gary, I believe, but again, that's all up in the air.
Well, I too, I'll take it again to follow on action. I think it's very important that the town website for collecting waterways fees be correct. And right now, looking at it, it is incorrect. And I will go introduce myself to Shannon Lyonnaise and keep trying to rectify this, Steve. It probably will take a full year, but I'll keep at it. So that'll take an action on my part.
Perhaps
I think,
Chris might be able to help you as well with that.
I was gonna say, I think we should make that a priority at this point.
Yeah,
Just to take a little bit of stress off of the situation.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. I mean, I think, I wonder is Chris aware of that issue?
I will make it so. So that's a good suggestion. I will
Yeah.
utilize Chris Vitale as a liaison to get into Shannon and try to get I mean, I talked to Gary, and he did say it was just an outside vendor that they hired, a subcontractor, and he obviously set up the page incorrectly. So, I mean, we tried to pay the bill and it was wrong. So
Yeah.
it's got to be rectified. I agree. It is very high priority that because that's something everybody should look at, and it should be easier for Steve and Waterways to make it just pay the bill, done, click,
Well,
bang.
the people that we're working with, the boaters, I mean, it's painful. It shouldn't be extra painful getting it done.
Extra,
Yeah.
And I remind everybody on the board, that's where our funding's coming from.
right?
You know, at this point, that's our lifeblood.
That's right.
They are our clients. Exactly right. They are our clients. So I'll take it as an action. I'll utilize Chris and I'll get to Shannon and keep working this to try to find out what we can do and offer to help. And I think it's a simple fix to a third party to rectify that page. It's not onerous. Steve already creates the wonderful PDF invoice with a unique identifier that could just be logged right in and populate the page and away you go. So
Does it make
I'll take-
sense? Would it make sense, Roger, to, maybe write up an outline of the issues and suggestions for fixing it? Before, I mean, just sort of like
Sure.
say exactly what the issues are and
Sure.
send it to Chris Vitale. Because Chris Vitale is very much of, you've got to be on his radar in email. That is the way it works there. So maybe
Agreed.
writing up very discrete points of, here's the issue and here's how we think it could be fixed.
Yep.
Send that and say, tell us how to get it done.
I'm happy to do that. It's a good idea, Patty. I will do that, and I can create the screenshots. And quite honestly, as
Yeah.
Steve said, he creates that wonderful PDF. We all got our bill.
Yeah.
We all paid our bill, and there it was, with your name, your number, your boat, your mooring, and all that. And all they have to do is take in that unique identifier and populate their page, and away you go.
Yeah, I think it's good. Chris has told me often that the best way to handle things with him is to give him emails, because he's got so many things on his
Okay.
plate that he just keeps them on a rolling. So if it's not right in front of him, I think he's got about 50 other things right in front of him.
I will do that. That's a good idea, Patty. Yes,
And my
Andrea.
experience working in town government with a third-party contractor, if the work wasn't done correctly the first time, there's going to be a cost to make the fix, even if even if it shouldn't be our cost. As a board, we should probably decide whether or not we're going to pay that in order to move this along. if, I'm not suggesting you have to tell them, we know that there's a cost, but there very well could be a cost to having the third party do some extra work.
Do we, is that bill for that third party, is that our bill? For setting
It's
up that?
probably the finance committees. In my experience, the person who's the project manager gets the information for all the different departments who are affected by it.
I guess
I
my
believe-
argument, Andrea, is no one called me up. No one called Steve up. No one asked us how we do our bills now. No one. And they produced this page that's erroneous. If it was a student handing in this work, I'd say, no, sorry, you fail. Come back and do it again. And I don't feel we should pay anything for this.
2
Yeah,
points.
I don't disagree.
One is that
but-
we're already
But that-
paying.
But you also want
overhead.
it done.
I want it done. But to Steve's point, I know what he's going to say. We already pay a town overhead fee to do this work. So let's get it done correctly. And I think I agree with TJ. This is a big front runner. This should be number one with a bullet. So let me go.
And I
push
see
this
Andrea's
work.
point too, that like maybe short dough fixes this problem.
Short
we're already-
money.
We are
Short money
paying
might fix the problem.
Yeah, might not be.
You know, and lost
Right.
productivity alone, we recoup our loss.
Yeah.
And we have
True.
been paying a third-party vendor on our side to keep updating the database and working with, keeping our stuff clean and workable. We can't hire somebody to do the town hall's work because the town hall has to let that person in. They have to decide who's going to work with their system. One more point I got to add, it's only going to get more painful when this project at the marina is done and we have to assign and bill for slips, dinghy or otherwise. So,
Excellent,
Right,
excellent point,
like I
Steve.
said-
The good news, I don't know if you saw it, the FOSS sent around a note that they've picked AGM as the contractor. It's a good bid that's come in under budget. We're looking good there, but then I'm getting ahead of myself. You're right. We should actually plan on that too, Steve, when we're updating the webpage.
I'm not the
I think this
person,
highlights the,
but
oh, sorry, Andrea.
I'm not the person to do it, but if anybody on this committee has particular skills dealing with systems and finance management, we should probably create that bird dog. It's not me.
I thought you
I'm
could
a
do it.
lawyer, Andrea. I have no technical expertise whatsoever. I can barely get on the phone call.
Okay. I will take it as an action. Thank you, TJ. I will take it as an action to reach to town hall and Chris. What's next, Steve?
we have received the bids. I was present at the bid opening last Friday, which was done at Town Hall. Patrick and Chris were the leads on this. I was there as a witness. The lowest bid has come in from AGM Marine. And I was quite surprised that we have 3 bids under $1 million. We have a project total grant project of 1.2 million. I'm not sure how much of that has been spent to date, putting the bids together in the construction docs. But AGM, which is a local company, has bid $899,780. That's $899,780. And they are assembling the documents they need to perfect that bid. They have until tomorrow to do that. They may have already done it, but they had 5 working days to get in minority business, woman business, certifications, things that were desired or required to
I
complete.
think it's desired. Steve, if you check your email, I think they did that. And
Yes.
they desired to have the minority, they desired to have the women owned, and they sent in the explanation of the percentage for minority and women. I think they've already done that. So it's all good.
Yes, I don't know that it was accepted or was in the right form, so I don't want to get ahead of myself and say that it's done. I'm saying that they're working towards completing if they haven't already done it. The next highest bid in the process was Beacon Marine out of Mashpee at $973,631. And the third was ACK Marine at $978. So
That's wonderful news.
ironically, I think only 2 of the 8 bids exceeded the 1.2 million that we had earmarked. And I'm sorry, maybe three, actually three exceeded, five were under our amount. So it was nice to have 8 active or 8 valid bids projected or put forth. Good interest, and that drives up the competition. So
Nice.
Was there any real difference work-wise in the bids that were, you know,
not really. I mean, some had higher elevated charges for costs that they may have to subcontract out a barge company, or they may have had to subcontract out. So but the work itself is all specified in the construction document, so there's no variation there. The materials are specified. The only difference in price is whether they had what they needed, or they would have to sub some or more of the work out. So, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is good news, Steve. Thank you. I
Yeah.
see just now that Rob Almy has joined from the Department of Public Works. Rob, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Sorry I'm late. I've been having household internet problems.
Oh, boy. Well, don't feel bad. We all have those.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think your timing is very good. Isn't that the next action item, Steve, or Rob is coming up?
yeah, I guess it could be. I thought was the discussions between Waterways and DPW board, but we can do that right now. There's not much else on the agenda.
There we go. Perfect timing, Rob. So, Rob, beforehand, we were talking about the application for the 604B grant, and maybe you could elaborate. What was the mindset of not applying for that, Rob?
Well, I'm going to answer the question I want to answer.
Okay,
If
go
you
ahead.
don't mind. First, let me give you some background. The Public Works Department has identified capacity limitations in its wastewater collection system and its treatment facility. We went rather public with that over a year ago and have been working through our consultants and our board to devise an approach that allows us to do two things. Understand and recommend to the town what changes need to be happen in the future so that the system is adequate. And secondly, to take whatever interim measures we can to meet existing and near term, that is in, say, the next 2, 3, 4 year demand. So we basically got a temporary upgrade process underway that includes being able to handle higher biological oxygen demand in the plant, and also do a better job with UV lights, killing any bacteria before the treated wastewater's discharged to Buzzards Bay. So those parts are ongoing. The other part is going to take several years, and in the interim, we continue to implement a what's known as an MS4 or stormwater management plan for the town. We just executed a contract at our last meeting for next year. Included in there are a number of samples at various discharge points in surface water bodies throughout the town. As this group's well aware, we've got a good working relationship with the Buzzards Bay Coalition, and they're doing basically a watershed plan and water quality initiative in Buttonwood Brook. And that plan, my own opinion is that that's a model for what could and should be done throughout the rest of the town. As your group is aware, this is done in the background of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts putting tighter restrictions on, in particular on nitrogen loading in various coastal estuaries. The signal is loud and clear to us that we need to get ahead of this. Public Works would and should play a fairly significant role in that. We are also in discussions with Buzzards Bay Coalition in a pilot program to help people convert a limited number of septic systems to the sanitary sewer. Remember, this is done against a backdrop where we have capacity limitations. We also know there are several developers interested in meeting the Commonwealth's housing needs. And so we can't really lie down in front of that train. Now, you asked me about the 604 process. We're looking in, and we'd like to cooperate with you folks in finding some grants that would allow us to better characterize what's going on in the watersheds and to develop a, if you will, a plan to develop a plan in the town. I sent a grant announcement to Chris Vitale this morning that seems to do that pretty well. It's not a 604 grant. My personal concern about grants focusing on 604 is that they tend to be focused on characterizing receiving waters. And to the extent that the receiving waters in the town of Dartmouth are better characterized, that may accelerate the listing and development of TDM or TMDLs. And that's can and should be done over the course of the next few years. But based on the board that I sit on and from my own experience in stormwater and regulatory affairs in this state and in Connecticut and in California, I have a strong bias toward identifying sources first, particularly when we already know, if you will, that there's a problem that needs to be addressed. And so my bias is to go for grants that allow us to develop a capacity within the town to do something along the lines of a comprehensive wastewater management plan and or integrated water resources plan, along with watershed based on watershed planning and upgrading various disposal and other kinds of sources of nitrogen. That's a long answer. I'm sorry it took so long. I'd happy to answer any other questions, and I'll try and be much, much shorter.
Well, thank you, Rob. No, that's great news. To reiterate, the Waterways Group does want to cooperate and collaborate with DPW any way we can. And having said that, I'll open it up the floor to any comments, maybe Patty or Andrea.
I'm still digesting what you said.
Well, one question I have, Rob, is you said you sent something to Chris Vitale this morning. What was the grant you're going after?
I can send you a copy. It's boy, I remember the numbers 303, but more importantly to me, the RFR has not been released. We have a chance to discuss a potential grant with the staff, the state staff that would be actually making decisions about it, which put in a nutshell means we can convince them that we got a good idea, and we can hear from them directly how to make the idea better. Plus, we have time to cooperate and collaborate with the townwide. And I'm not sure who would make the grant application. I mean, on behalf of who, or whether it would be a joint board, committee, whatever. But I think my opinion is that the four big interests in the town, from the long list of boards and commissions is Waterways, Public Works, Health, and planning if we can rope them in. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. And also the Concom. But I think it's important that we try and focus into a relatively small group and try and come to an agreement on an approach that we can recommend to the select board, and that we can bring some of our potential partners in the nonprofit world on board.
Yes, Kevin, go ahead. Oh, you're muted. Kevin, you're muted.
Thank you. Rob, this topic I know, but while we have you here, it might be a good time to comment. You were speaking before the select board on Monday, and the charter, I believe, is trying to make a change with the structure as to who hires the DPW hiring. Would you care to comment on that at this time?
The DPW board will consider that item at 7:30 Monday morning in a special meeting.
Thank you, Rob. Yes,
Is that
Andrea.
I don't disagree with the importance of what Rob has spoken of in terms of, the overall improvements to the town's water quality is absolutely relative to improvements to the wastewater treatment plant and our stormwater management system. And obviously we need clean drinking water. So an integrated water resource management plan is an obvious solution, but it's a long-term solution. And I would like to see if we can't go after some short-term money to facilitate workshops and get people talking about what water quality really means in this town, and kind of warm people up to what's going to be a very large ticket item coming up. In that regard, we do have a TMDL in Slocum River. Both Steve Bliven and I brought to the town's attention that the data was so old that it wouldn't have been accepted if a third party had submitted it. And it doesn't include newer sources. So we don't want that TMDL to be the TMDL that we're defined by, because the data is based on, I think, 2010, and it doesn't include the compost facilities that have gone in since then. And that's the compost operations are a legitimate problem. So we aren't going to get to these additional sources outside of DPW's infrastructure if we don't proceed with watershed planning. I'm all for working with third parties. I know that I'm very closely associated with the Buttonwood to Bay project. I'm on their citizens advisory group with you, Rob. They're definitely going to say we need to hook up more septic, and it's going to lead to a TMDL in bacteria and nitrogen. So we got to get ahead. And I appreciate any support for smaller grants that articulate the problem, find out what information we have, where it's located, what the resource problems are, and then move forward. I don't want to go into detail, but Patty and I were incredibly disappointed with our inability to get GIS work done through the town in our harbor plan implementation work. We've been told by third parties that information that should be easy to provide is in 1,000 different places. So I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done, getting our systems up and running well before we get to the integrated plan. So I'd appreciate your support in doing some more public outreach and filling the gaps. I don't think it's something the town can do by itself, because that has not been our experience. I say ours, I mean Patty and I working on the harbor plan implementation. That's not been our experience.
I would support Andrew's comments on that. It has not been easy for us to do what seems to me to be the easiest things, and in uncontentious areas. And so trying to get that support is difficult. I also support what Andrea said in terms of planning for a plan. I think we don't know what we don't know yet. And I think that there's a good reason to take a broader look at water quality in our town before or in conjunction with, in coordination with what you're talking about, Rob, but I don't think it's the whole picture. And I think we need to look at the whole picture in order to get a running start on what we have to do. It's going to be very expensive. And I think it needs to be planned out. So I appreciate everything that you're saying, and I would also reiterate that we want to work cooperatively and want to be a part of it and support it. But I think there's a piece that's missing when we're not going for a planning for the plan grant opportunity.
Thank you, Patty.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I just forwarded you a copy of what I sent to Chris Vitale this morning. It was part of an announcement in the state's coastal zone newsletter. And so you can share that with your commission, and then we can sit down and talk about how to move forward. Chris seemed very open to doing the right thing, and a couple of the bulleted items in the description of this grant seem to suggest that we could use some of the proceeds to develop planning capacity, that is water quality and water supply planning capacity ahead of an integrated plan with this money. And so this is what caught my eye about it. So we, and as I say, I think we got time to talk a little bit and figure out the best way to do it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Rob. As we've all said, we want to help, and that it's a townwide problem. And unfortunately, the Waterways is the recipient. We're the small puddle that everything flows into.
Right.
That all our folks swim in, sail in, clam in, boat in, and we obviously want to work our way upland to rectify as best we can. And we really appreciate your rock and hard place, where if we get more people to tie into your sewage treatment plant, you don't have the capacity in your sewage treatment plant to accept them. So it's a dilemma, and it's a real problem, and we understand that, and we want to help in any way, shape, or form we can.
Yeah, just, my sense is that the town's business is providing service to its residents. And so we owe it from the public works side to be sure we can provide those services. So that's one of the reasons to try and work ahead on this, and be sure that our answer is always, yes, we're working on it. We're not quite sure how we're going to do it, but the answer is yes. Okay. And I take your point about you guys you are literally the receiving waters. And so
the buck stops with us. Yeah,
absolutely does. And I thought he was a funny guy, but I was not a big fan of the expression, "I can't get no respect." You guys need the respect for a bunch of different reasons. Anyway, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. And this is just the beginning, and we do appreciate all the efforts that you do. Anybody else
Absolutely.
for discussion with Rob? Okay. Thank you, Rob.
Thank
I know
you.
you're a busy guy. See you later. What's
See you
next
later. Have
on
a
the?
good afternoon.
Quick exit.
Bye. I know. Bye now. I feel like the big giant hook. Yes, Steve, I think last on your list is. You're muted, Steve.
Nice landing.
There we go. Sorry about that. That covers everything except any topic that was not known or anticipated. I do have two comments on that. One, the latest email from Fourth Engineering regarding the marina project is that they advise the town accept and award the bid to AGM. There's no response yet from Town Hall, but I suspect that will be resolved this week and we'll move forward. The last, which just came across my desk, and I'm not looking for any discussion or comment, but I want to put everybody on notice that New Bedford Yacht Club has filed a notice of intent with Concom for dredging, which is going to affect the waterways, obviously. And I'm going to be looking for some guidance from town council. Myself being a member and slip holder, it's up to the commission, but most, if not just about all, except for two of the commission members are yacht club members. I don't know if this is going to open up any potential conflicts. So I'm just letting everybody know that, again, we're not looking for comment or discussion on a non-agenda item, but it is something new across my desk that will be coming up. They're looking to do dredging and they're looking to expand the dock.
Thank you, Steve. Kevin, do you have is that your hand up? I see a little cartoon of a hand.
Middle finger.
Oh, no, no.
No, not here.
Yeah. None here. Okay. Well, so we won't discuss it. And that's interesting that they're chugging ahead to ask for dredging and changes at the yacht club. So
I just want to add that the dredging is independent of what we have going on. There's been no, as far as I know, no communication between our engineer for dredge feasibility study and New Bedford Yacht Club. Just wanted to clarify that.
Yes, Kevin, did you have a question?
We might see if there is any cooperation or merger that could be possible to discuss in the future. If they're going ahead, maybe it can prod us along too, because we have some grant money already in that regard. And some of that information might be helpful.
We did invite the yacht club to, actually, it was Patty's meeting, right? We invited them.
Yes.
So.
Yes, we did. Yeah, this is the first I've heard of it, but I could certainly inquire.
That'd be
I
great.
mean, first I've heard of it. First, I've heard that they were putting in an NOI to Concom.
Since you're so well connected, Patty, if you could research that a little bit, it would be appreciated.
I shall.
Thank you.
One conversation too.
Yeah. There was some I don't know if it's on there, but we're still working to apply for the SEC grant for the dinghy racks, that replacement for those. We're waiting. I was on their website this morning. They still haven't updated the SEC grant application form. So we're waiting for that. We're all set to we'll just cut and paste and dump it in and send it into SEC when we're ready. But I haven't, unless you know something, Kevin, there's no new, I just checked this morning. There's no new form from SEC. Guess not. Anyway, any other discussion?
I'm sorry, there isn't any news yet. I suspect that they're probably going to accept the old form as we get closer to the June deadline. So,
well, we're all set either way. So that one is covered. So we're in good shape. Anything else, Steve, that you have?
That would be it. I don't see any other public comment. And then we just need a next meeting.
What's the pleasure of the board? I got to tell you, I'm kind of busy the rest of May. And
are you going to be away in June?
yeah, tentatively, I am out of the country. So
sorry, one other announcement I want, while we look at dates, there will be some activity at the Maritime Center on weekends in May as we work with the Lloyd Center for some of the public outreach that goes along with a grant we received on it's escaping me now, but the resilience, the coastal
MVP.
Thank you.
MVP.
Yeah, the MVP grant. So we have been asked and will provide access to the Maritime Center for the community outreach educational component we promised.
And the town is, as an addendum to that, the town has submitted a grant application for a second MVP grant to focus on north of Route 6 for basically the same thing, examination of town infrastructure and resiliency in order to plan for climate change, and also to include an educational component, much like we did with the first grant with the Lloyd Center and for Round the Bend Farm.
Thank you, Patty. How does June 13th sound? Thursday at noon. June 13th.
Let me check.
I can do that.
I'm going to be unavailable from June 4th to June 22nd.
Okay. Good to know, Andrea.
I'm okay.
Roger, I can make that work too.
Okay.
Roger, I'm wondering, should we go back to 4 o'clock? Is Eli unavailable to join us on these things because of because we're taking a midday?
A good point. I mean, I just picked it because it was lunch hour. It seemed to work for some people, but we can go to 4 o'clock if that is better for folks.
I'm not suggesting it. I'm just reaching out saying that the 12 o'clock might not work for some people.
We should ask them.
Who either at
Yeah.
home, right? Who either at home or have easy access to a computer. I'm just
Sure.
trying to keep it open for everyone.
I
Yeah,
know that I can't do Thursdays at 4, but I haven't heard from Eli as to why. There's been no response to the emails to the meeting invite, so.
Okay.
maybe we should just check in with them.
Yes, Kevin.
Roger, may I make a suggestion that we kind of get ourselves on a schedule, a certain day each month that we're going to meet, trying to just throw out random numbers here. And as long as we all have a quorum, that's really all that's necessary. I mean, it's nice to be able to accommodate everybody on their schedule, but it is difficult to get all these people of different backgrounds together to agree on a time. Yet, if we know on the third Tuesday of the month or the fourth Tuesday or whatever, and just kind of establish a time and see how that plays out rather than winging it every meeting.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, my life is winging it every month. So
We have
I'm afraid I can't pick a day and say I'm going to be there. I've been trying to do a month apart. That's just me. If I had to pick a day, I think Thursdays are better for me. Yeah, I'll reach out to Eli and say, can he make a 4 o'clock as opposed to I just thought noon is a good time for folks, and just pick that
Works for
sort of.
me.
Well, Steve
Third-
can't make the 4 anyway, so why don't we stick with the noon on the 13th?
Okay.
But knowing full well, maybe we should look at it a little more.
All right, I'm happy to do that. And yes, maybe that could be the time we just do it the 13th of every month, or whatever that Thursday is, Kevin. I've been pretty busy in May and the beginning of June. All right. Thank you for that. And unless there's any other business or discussion, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Second.
you.
Again,
Thanks,
and-
everybody. Nice to see you.
And gone.